introducing myself. My name is Maria and I am giving today the lecture about teenage parenting. We have a couple different types of points because teenage parenting is one of our problems that students are having towards social effect. So one of the points is about no one knows very good about sex education. They're not very well educated. So one thing is no sex education and STDs, pregnancy, and dropouts. These are the main points that we know that parenting is hard task, but teaching one might be harder. So my points might be that, so we know that sex education is kind of important, but what are the consequences? They don't know how to use birth control or a condom. The lack of responsibility, and it ends up in an unwanted pregnancy or STDs. Why? Because we know that half of our students don't know very well about what is sex, what is the education that you're supposed to give your own students or even parents. I'm a parent, so I kind of understand the point of view of other parents. Maybe they're thinking, oh, it might be a little bit weird talking about sex. So another problem we have is the STDs. You might not end up pregnant, but with an STD, and you could die from it, and you have to go to the doctor for treatment. STD is one of our main points because pregnancy, you could go through it, but an STD, it could kill you, or you might just have it for life. You're not sure about it. Pregnancy. Why teenage parenting ends up in teen pregnancy? Well, you end up as a single parent, unwanted pregnancy. 1/4 of our children that are put off for adoption are young mothers that decide not to keep the baby, and premature babies. So that's one of our points, that teenage pregnancy leads up to premature babies, that the mom is not enough, she's not enough, her body doesn't support that. She might be too young or too old, but the premature babies mostly come from teenage moms. So now we have dropouts. What's the meaning of dropouts? Well, we know that single mothers or fathers, they don't have enough time or have to go to school. And as parents, they have to work. So if you don't work, you don't have enough money for the diapers, you don't have enough money for the formula. And if you end up as a single mother or father, you might end up having a babysitter that you might not have enough money for, or your parents can't help you or anything. So we're going right now to our chart to see teenage parenting. What is it? So we see the years from 2000 to 2018. It goes up to 10 to 100,000 moms each year. It goes up a little bit, goes down. And in 2018, it's a lot less than we expected. So that's our chart of how many teenage pregnancies are each year during this topic. So now we only have 30% of mothers from ages 15 to 17 receive child support. So child support is something that most mothers don't receive. It's 30% out of 100% mothers that don't receive all of the support economic. So now we have our types of breast control. So we have abstinence, condoms, pills, implants, vaginal implants, and patches. So here I have the pills. These are the pills. Those are the pills. That's one of the birth controls. And we have the patches. The patches is a different type of birth control that also is about 99% effective. These are the patches. And that helps with the types of birth control. Types of birth control are ways you can prevent a pregnancy, an unwanted pregnancy, and the only birth control that actually helps is a condom, for not to get any STDs or pregnancy. That's one of our main birth control. But other than that, we have these, and then, well, my my question would be, as a teacher, what kind of support will I give to my students if they were pregnant or their teen parents? Well, I would actually talk about not having them to drop out, making them graduate. I would talk about them having prenatal care. I would talk about them maybe focusing on their life and trying to get the best out of them. So one of the things that I would like to read here in the textbook is about if you could read this, please.
Almost half the children living in a household headed by a female live in poverty. Over 43% of children living in a household headed by a female live in poverty. Single mothers often are undereducated, have poor work skills, and limited experience, leading to low wages.
So that's one of our problems with the household. We know that many parents and single parents, they can't provide so much for their house. So maybe that's one of the problems here, pregnancy, which leads up to that, to the note in the textbook. That's one of our problems. So now I have a simple activity. We have do and don'ts. So if I say using a condom or birth control, is that a do or a don't? That's a
Do.
a do. Okay? Now, asking a parent or a teacher about how to have protected sex. Do or don't? It would be
Do.
do. Having unprotected sex, what would that be?
Don't.
Don't. And lack of responsibility, which would be
Don't.
don't. So, today's lesson was about teenage parenting. And all I could give a feedback about is that this topic is one of our main topics in the society, because as teachers, we also have kids of our own, and we would not have them have the same problems as other teens have, like pregnancy, like an STD, or them not graduating, which is something that as teachers we would appreciate if parents and or their guardian help and provide sex education for them, because it's just a lack of responsibility as parents, also as teachers, if we don't provide them as much help as we need or they need. And so this is my feedback about the lesson, and all I can say is that this lesson was very helpful, because, well, it's something that helps students from the ages 13 to 18, because they are teens, so they have that small part in them that they need help, because if we don't teach them the way we would teach them as a friend, not as a teacher, well, there's so many things we could do. We could actually prevent so many things, because the consequences are here. If we prevent them, we could prevent them by what? Sex ed class. We could have meetings with parents, even though it's not a taboo in this century. We live in the 21st century, so it's impossible to have any taboos in talking about that. What else we could prevent? Maybe we could try having doctors come to the school and telling them, and them asking questions about birth control, or the doctor explains about how babies come out premature. And there's so many things that we could help students prevent and help them be sexually active in a mature way, for them to be good adults and healthy adults. Like the textbook says, if we have good classes, well, the students will become healthy adults in a sexually active way. And, well, that's one of my last sentences. And, well, all I could say was that this was a very good topic to talk about, and I would actually just be impressed with the little bit of information that the textbook gives us with our own information, because, well, this is something that goes in high school, and we all been through high school, so this was my project